This is Matthew Cratter from Trader University, and today I want to talk about how to profit from the U.S. presidential election. If you're interested in learning trading strategies that work in both bull and bear markets, or you just want to see what I'm trading or investing in, be sure to hit that subscribe button. So I'm going to teach you two different ways to make a profitable bet on the U.S. presidential election, which is coming up in about a week. One of them is what's called a risk-free arbitrage, which I think is a useful financial tool that this is one way of sort of explaining the idea of arbitrage. So we're going to do this using a prediction market that's actually based in New Zealand. It looks like U.S. citizens are still able to trade this. The way prediction markets work is people bet real money and they bet on different outcomes. And the way these outcomes are priced is basically from 0 cents to 100 cents. And so the way this would work, for example, who will win the 2020 U.S. presidential election? The fact that Joe Biden right now is trading at 63 cents means that there's a 63% chance that he will win the presidential election next week. There's a 41% chance that Trump will. Now, this is assuming that this prediction market is correct. You can argue with it. You can say that this is priced incorrectly, and this is actually a way to profit from it. Now, I'm going to show you the really tricky way of doing it in a minute, but I just want to make sure that you understand the basics. So if Joe Biden wins, this contract will settle at 100 cents or at $1. If Trump loses, this contract will settle at 0. If Trump wins, this contract will settle at 100. In other words, if he wins, there's a 100% chance that he won. This is how prediction markets are set up, and it's helpful because it allows you to think of these numbers in terms of probabilities. You can see there's a very tiny, negligible chance that some of these candidates aren't even running for president. Obviously, Kamala is VP under Biden, but there's a very small chance. I'm not even sure why these are at 1%. But let me show you two ways to do this. The first way is if you think that people have been lying to the polls, that Trump's chances of winning are underpriced, you can just buy this contract. And if you buy, you could buy 1,000 shares right now for 1,000 shares at 42 cents. That'll cost you $420. That $420, if Trump wins, will become $1,000 if so the $420 today will become $1,000 if Trump wins next Tuesday or whenever the election is settled. You can also sort of do the inverse. You can buy no if you think Trump is definitely going to lose. You can buy no for 59 cents, and that will settle at $1 if Trump loses. So that's the most basic way of trading this. But I'm going to show you something tricky that you can do with a relative or with a friend or with an obnoxious coworker in a way to lock in a profit. This is what's called a risk-free arbitrage. So there are two steps, and you can substitute Biden or Trump for this. It doesn't really matter. Step one, I could find a friend who thinks that Trump is going to win, and then I would bet him or her $500 that Trump will lose. So I'm going to bet that Trump loses. I'm basically going to short Trump with my friend, and then I'm going to buy Trump in the prediction market. I'm going to buy a Trump win. So I'm going to go long. I'm going to go here and buy yes. I'm going to pay 42 cents. And then if Trump wins, this will pay off at 100 cents or $1. So how does this work? Well, let's look at two scenarios. The first scenario is Trump loses, as I bet my friend that he would. In that case, I will win $500 from my friend. I will lose $420 in the prediction market at predicted.org because I will have paid bought 1,000 contracts at 42 cents. That's $420. So I'll basically win $500. I'll lose $420. I'll have a net profit of $80 before fees. Now, there are some fees associated with this, so the arbitrage might be a little smaller than it looks. But you can also experiment with some other races here, Senate races, House races, etc. So if Trump loses, I will make $80. Now let's say what happens if Trump wins. Well, in that case, I bet my friend $500 that Trump would lose. So I would have to pay my friend $500. But what would happen in the prediction market? Well, this contract that I bought for 42 cents, if Trump wins, will become 100 cents. I will make $580 in the prediction market. I have to pay 500 of that to my friend. I'm still left with $80. So the nice thing about this is a totally free, risk-free arbitrage where you lock in an $80 profit before fees. And you do this whether Trump wins or loses, whether Biden wins or loses. You can look at some of the other races, as I said. If you have strong views, for example, about various Senate races, you can also do that. This tends to work best when you have a small number, when some of these are priced below 50 cents, simply because of the way the math works. You want to win more than 50 cents to offset your bet with a friend. But this is one way. This is one way that finance people look at markets and try to lock in risk-free arbitrages. And I think this is interesting that this is possible. I don't know how high you can scale this up. I think that there are certain limits to this. There are obviously gambling restrictions, trading restrictions in the U.S. and some of these. This market has received a no action letter from the CFTC, which means that they're not going to be sued by the U.S. regulatory groups for running this. And so it is. I've never placed a bet with this, but you can wire in money and try something like this. And I think it's a useful way of beginning to look at markets. When people ask me who I think is going to win the election, my best guess is I basically go by this prediction market. I think this is probably priced correctly. People may lie to polls. There's this idea that Donald Trump supporters have a tendency not to express their views to pollsters for whatever reason, and such that his poll numbers are low. But one can go in this prediction market and go long Trump, and there's certainly no stigma attached with that. So I tend to pay attention to markets that are being driven. You can always tell a pollster anything you want. You can troll them, but when you're actually betting your own money, it would seem that this is one way of sorting things out. That being said, these prediction markets got it wrong in 2016. I think they had Hillary winning by a similar spread, and it turned out to be wrong. So you can also do, rather than doing this risk-free arbitrage, if you think Trump has a much higher chance of winning than this prediction market is pricing in, you can just go long. Go long Trump, basically at best offer at 42 cents. It will mature at 100 cents if Trump wins. Likewise, if you think the chance of Biden winning is much higher than 63%, you can go long, and this will mature at 100 cents as well if Biden wins. If you found this video helpful, be sure to go down here to the red button, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the like button right here. And this will help other people to find this video on YouTube. Also, let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. And thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next video.